Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Daniel Saul Show, where your passion meets the truth. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing boxing, specifically, who is the greatest boxer of all time. But before this video continues, let me quickly remind you to go down in the description and check out the links to my socials. Go follow them and check out the highlights from my show if you can't make the full video on YouTube. Let's get into the video. Alright, so today's question is, who is the greatest boxer of all time? So I'm going to have my top 10 on the screen, and I'm only going to explain to you my top 3 because I think that's the most important. So, obviously at 10 I have Joe Frazier, Sonny Liston, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao. I come up with Sugar Ray Robinson at my number 4 slot. I went back and forth on this, these top 3 was probably the hardest list I ever had to come up with. Let me go to number 3, and that's Mike Tyson. Dad, I'm sorry. Mike Tyson, to me, is my favorite boxer. My dad, he says that Mike Tyson's the best, and I probably understand that because, he grew up in the 80s watching Mike Tyson, and I get it. He knocked out people in like 10 seconds, and fights were so quick and so, they were over so quick and all that stuff. Look, Mike Tyson, to me, is my favorite. He is the greatest knockout artist in the history of boxing. Not only that, he's the scariest and most vicious boxer of all time. Let's not get that twisted. And I think that he is number 3 for the main reason that, he didn't fight the toughest of competition. And in the competition in which he did fight, people like Lennox Lewis and Holyfield, he fought those guys outside of his prime after he came out of jail, and he fought those guys and he couldn't win, and he wasn't in his prime, and so prime Tyson versus them, he probably absolutely obliterates them. I think it's by knockout, vicious knockout, but the reality is that he couldn't. And yes, he didn't lose much. I think he's got like 55 wins. And he is going to be fighting Jake Paul soon, which I think is crazy. I could put him at number 1. I could put him at number 2. And same with the rest of these guys in this top 3. But it's just so difficult for me. And I had to put Floyd Mayweather Jr. at number 2. Floyd Mayweather has fought the most world champions. He's the most accurate boxer. Okay, you got to understand those things. He's made the most money out of any boxer in the history of boxing. And when you put that together, or just fighting in general, he's made the most money. You got to understand this guy is very rich. And when you're looking at Floyd Mayweather, the defense, the speed, the counters, the skill, everything, he was the greatest in this era in which people that are like early 20s, late teens grew up watching Floyd Mayweather. And when you're looking at Floyd Mayweather, he fought so many great fighters. But the reason why I couldn't put him at number 2 and why I could put him lower is because he handpicked the champions, quote-unquote champions that he fought. And I say quote-unquote because he fought guys that were in lighter divisions that had to move up in weight that were champions in their own respected division and had to move up to Floyd's division so he could fight them. He wasn't fighting people at the right time, at least for the fans, and at the boxing right time. He was fighting them at the right time for him because he knew he had longevity, he knew he had durability, he knew he had stamina. He knew he had all these things, just like how LeBron is doing what he's doing. And it's something we've never seen before in basketball. His longevity has to be studied. That's exactly how Mayweather was. Not like that, but his longevity was pretty long, and it was pretty good. And he knew that he was going to be better than Manny Pacquiao, even though he was older. He knew he was going to be better than Manny Pacquiao at 36 years old. Manny was. And you got to understand, he fought Manny Pacquiao at a time when he knew he was going to win. He fought a hurt Manny Pacquiao. He fought a very young Canelo Alvarez that, yes, had a lot of fights under his belt, but wasn't experienced enough because he just hadn't been in the sport long enough. As Floyd Mayweather was in the sport for God knows how long at the time. And you got to understand, because of those things, I can't put him at number 1. Number 1 is Muhammad Ali. I don't think he's the best fighter in this list. I think the best textbook boxer in this top 3 is Floyd Mayweather. I think the scariest and most bad man on the planet is Mike Tyson. But when you're talking about boxers and when you're talking about greatness, and what I just got done saying, greatness isn't just how good you are skillfully and skill-wise. It's not how, hard your punch is. It's about what you do on and off the court, field, or ring, and what you do off of it, what you do inside of it. It's everything in a whole. And when you look at Muhammad Ali and the times in which he was fighting, civil rights and all of that stuff, and not just that, the way he would speak to his opponents before the fight, how he would rhyme when he would speak, talking trash, telling them how they're going to lose, when they're going to lose, all this extra stuff. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Look, you got to understand, he is iconic. The most iconic boxer in the history of the sport. He was a great fighter. He has probably one of the greatest defenses of all time. His defense is on the top. When you think of defense in boxing and fighting, you think of people like Floyd Mayweather and Muhammad Ali. And, he's in the top 2 defense of all time. He was fast. He could run around the ring. He had power. He had speed, especially for the heavyweight division. Something we had never seen before. A lot of people had never seen before. You can go watch the footage on YouTube. But bottom line is he's the greatest. I could flip these, and it could be Mayweather won, Tyson won, Ali won. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that I think Muhammad Ali is without question the greatest fighter and the greatest boxer there has ever been.